guys, hope you're all doing well. So if you see the same makeup, it's the same day. I'm filming another video. So if you checked out my video, I don't know, it came out before this. I don't know if it's directly before this one, but a previous video when I talked about my favorite well-rounded palettes, I mentioned that I wanted to do the same thing for warm palettes. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. So warm eyes are like hot, no pun intended. Hot right now, you know. It is the go-to look for a lot of people. A warm brown, a warm eye, a warm copper, warm gold eye. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful trend, and companies, as they should, hop on trends and create warm palettes. Now, I will say this: I don't have very many straight warm palettes. Like, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I don't have very many straight warm palettes. I mean, I have a lot of palettes. When I say very many, I mean like maybe 5% are straight warm palettes. But I have a lot of palettes with that warm element in them. As you can see from like my previous videos or like my palette collection, I have a lot of palettes with an element of warm shadows in there. But just like the whole palette is warm, yeah. But that's the thing. So I have some recommendations. All of these palettes, as per usual, all of these palettes you can still get. They're still available. So I took out limited edition warm palettes. I took out palettes like, I have a lot of nice warm palettes from Bad Habit that I want to share, but it's not fair. You can't really get those. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into these warm palettes. If in terms of like a definition of like a warm palette, again, if you know the color wheel or the color spectrum, warm shadows tend to be oranges, browns, not browns, warm browns, but oranges, yellow, red, leaning in that spectrum, warm, you know, warm colors. I like fall, the fall colors and the leaves and bomb. So that is kind of like the theme of these. So all of these palettes, the main theme is warm. I did pick all palettes that have a variety of finishes, a variety of like warm colors, not just all oranges or something like that. So I think they're well-rounded warm palettes, if you will, but they definitely definitely are just that warm. Just, yeah, warm can really do well with neutral. So like a lot of neutrals can lean warm. A lot of browns can lean warm. A lot of like metallic shades of light golds and champagnes can lean warm. And warm colors look really good on a lot of people. You have a lot of people that like cool as well. I'm one of those people that warm looks really good on me. I love gold and warm hair and those type of shades. I love those type of shades, and I think they complement my skin well, and they complement a lot of people's skin well. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into these warm palettes. I am going to go from most expensive to least expensive, and again, you can get all of these palettes. So here we go. Okay, so we're going to start with the most expensive palette in this lineup, but it's also probably the biggest, yeah, the biggest palette in the lineup in terms of shades, and that is the Loreal Mega Pro 3. So, oh, you guys, Loreal is one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas, if not still my favorite eyeshadow formulas of all time. All her shadows are soft and buttery, and Loreal's palette's only neutral, although she's coming out with a bright palette, and I'm getting on that. But all of her palettes are in the neutral family. Cool, warm, neutral, but the shades are neutral. This palette definitely is the warmest. I think it's the most woman of color, person of color friendly. Brown skin friendly. So if you open this up, you have 32 shades in here, 2 rows of mattes, 16 mattes, and 16 shimmers. And definitely, this is probably the least warm out of all the warm palettes. It's warm, but you do have a little bit of a section of a cool tone, but the majority of it's warm, so I wanted to put it in here. I love this formula. Soft, buttery, smooth to blend. I mean, just, they blend themselves. Loreal's eyeshadow formula, her pro eyeshadow formula has always been top notch. So yeah, you get your warm neutrals. This row here is like where I live. It's where I live with my matte shades. And then you have beautiful metallics like cider and rose quartz and rust. If I have to do a quick eye, like a quick eye, I'm going with a warm look. And I'll do a couple, a warm brown on the crease, then a deeper brown in the outer part, and a metallic on the lid, and I'm out the door. And this provides me with all of that. Look, You guys just look at this. This one is, again, the most expensive at $59. It's actually on sale right now at Nordstrom online, and for like 30-something dollars. And you can get it at the Loreal, on the Loreal website and things like that. So I hope Loreal comes up with another mega palette. Right now she has 4. She didn't release one last year, so kind of a bummer, but I love them. Maybe she'll come up with a bright mega palette and I'll be all on that. So, whew, yes. Speaking of warm palettes, Natasha Denona is coming out with this Sunset palette, and it's $65 instead of her normal $100 and $1 million. Pray for me, you guys, because it's very enticing. All right, the next palette is sitting at a $54 price range. I know, and that's the Urban Decay Naked Heat. This palette has 12 shades in it, and it really just cuts down on that, just cuts down to the core, warm, neutrals, all the way across. There are some mattes. There's not too many metallics, but they're like satin finishes. You have one in Ember. Ember on the end here is a little bit metallic. I would give it that. I would definitely give it that. But all the others lean toward that satin. There's not really a shimmer in here. So it's really, really calm in terms of finishes, but it really does pack a punch. And I think what helps it is this shade here. What is that? Ashes, that deep warm plum that helps smoke out a little bit. But other than that, you'll get a standard like mid in terms of tone, not too bright, not too light, not too deep, warm shades. The mattes are beautiful, they blend well, but to be honest, this is one of my favorite warm palettes because I own it. But I think I got it well before a bunch of these other palettes, and now that I have these, I'm not going to recommend this one to you because it's $54, but I'm letting you know it's my favorite. It's one of my favorites, so if you have it, pull it out. Pull it out. But in terms of price, we can do a little bit better. Okay? Okay. This next palette is coming in around $25, at least it used to be. At least it used to be. Again, I'm gonna link all the palettes down below. You use codes and different things like that. This is the Morphe 3502. So Morphe has the 35O, then they have the 35O matte, the 35O shimmer, and the 3502. So look. Okay. And this one is my favorite. It has a lot of mattes in it. It has a lot of mattes, but it does have some satins and metallics. And why I enjoy this one is because it's just straight warm. Like the browns are warm. You do have a black in here to smoke things out. You have this bright popping. Yo, that's popping. That is popping. That's popping too. And then the metallics. I like a good like coppery gold when I'm doing a really warm look. Who am I kidding? I like all the golds, but the ones in here I just think complement the shades in here well. Now a lot of times with Morphe palettes, you do get they don't do it as much anymore, but like back in this theme, a lot of the shades you could like repeat. Like they could probably cut out a quarter of these shades and have this palette still be just as unique as it is. So keep that in mind. But again, if you're looking for a large, inexpensive, warm palette where you have a bunch of warms to play with, because some of these, even though they're quite similar, the difference in tone in your eyes can either not be a difference, but it can be a world of difference. So that's something that if you're playing with shades, it's good to have, you know, a couple options. But yeah, this is where the 3502 and the 35O is kind of where I saw Morphe's quality of shadows begin to shift. I think they've even gotten better than this. But they've begun to shift into that. I never really disliked them, but you could tell that the quality has gotten better, and the 35Os was definitely a staple in that. Like, yeah, changing it up. But yeah, straight warm, inexpensive. I think the packaging is different now. I think it's different packaging. So, all right, but we can go even better on price. Have one more Morphe palette. For $16, if you just like need to condense this, let's just condense this into like a little bit of warm, a little bit of this down here, just like condense it a little bit, but still keep it bright and warm. I recommend the 15D. This is the Day Slayer palette. Check this one out. It does the same thing. It doesn't have any red in it. One thing with the 35O, it's leaning to deeper oranges and reds. This one's definitely brighter and lighter, but it's definitely still warm. You have a row of neutrals down here. You have no black in this palette. This is a deep charcoal taupe down here. It's a matte, and then there's a satin one in the same family. And then you have some warm browns here. And then all of these are that warm orangey. You do have a metallic gold in this shade right here. So you have a condensed all warm palette. I think it's beautiful. Again, it just depends on your preference and if you want a lot of options. I think this one would be just fine. If you're kind of, you know what you like now, you ain't got to play, you ain't got to do all that. This is a condensed warm palette. But remember, you're not going to get any of those reds, any of those bright like orangey reds, those fire colors. You're not going to get very many of those if that's the kind of warm you're looking for. So probably next one, still at $16. Probably like one of my favorite palettes of all time. That's a tough one, but all time, and it is warm, and it is cute, and it's everything. Colorpop, yes please. You guys, if you guys been watching my channel, when this came out, I died over it. Let's get into this. Look how dirty it is. The only thing is, this was their first palette, and this has like the lightest, like dirtiest packaging. I beat this bad boy up, and now all the other packagings are really nice and shiny, and you can wipe them clean. And oh well, really like this palette. You guys, this is it. This is for the person who doesn't need a variety of options. I like a variety of options. I like palettes. I like playing with shades. But if you're like Candice, I need a warm palette, smallest it can possibly be, cheapest it can possibly be, but I need some gold, I need some metallic, I need some matte, I need some brown. You're welcome. Here you go. Quality is phenomenal. This is Colorpop's first ever pressed palette type of situation, and it just blew up, and it's still like one of their best sellers. You guys, let me just, this yellow in here, I've used it plenty and plenty of times for a one shadow look. I don't know, I fell in love with Colorpop's formula. I fell in love with Colorpop palettes, and now I have loads of them, but this one is still the favorite. It's still the all-time, the OG, the GOAT in terms of warm palettes. If I could just recommend this one to you, definitely. If you gotta pick one, I'm picking this one, but again, it's down to your preference. It's down to your preference, and that's why I'm showing you a variety of options that are still all top-notch, but again, GOAT, in my opinion. If you don't know what GOAT means, it's greatest of all time. That's the thing we say. Michael Jordan's the GOAT. You know, Michael Jackson was the GOAT. It's a lot of GOATs, you know. Alright, anyway. So yes, look at, they just picked the perfect warm shades to complement each other and get to the point. This is one of those palettes that gets to the point. You want a warm palette with some browns, with some metallics, with some oranges. Let's get to the point. Here it is. And this is what you have. You guys, let me stop saying you guys and actually say some educational things. Alright, but let's say, Candice, I ain't got $16. I got one for you that's a little bit cheaper. I'm showing you two of them because with this brand, they will repackage a palette. Depending on what store, you can find them at Target, you can find them at Walmart, you can find them on their website, their own website, but just depending on the store, I'll show you different ways they look. And this is by, these palettes are by, these palettes are by Profusion. And we have the Confidence palette. You see this circle pans, this was in their holiday collection, if I'm not mistaken. You have the Confidence palette, and then you have what is called the Sienna's palette. And I think this was in their summer collection. But, see, the pans are different. It depends on what store you get them from. It depends on a lot with Profusion. Now, I will say this, something that I appreciate that Profusion does. They will recycle shades in a different palette. These palettes are inexpensive. Oh, they're only $10 a piece, $9.99. And they're usually on sale at like Target and stuff. So, and you get 21 shades in them, in each one. It's just the pans are different for some reason. And you get a brush. They will recycle shades, not all of them, but they will recycle shades and name them the same thing. So for an example, and I don't know, that just makes me happy. So, for example, in Confidence palette, you have, look here, you have Serendipity, and you have Dynasty, right? You have those two shades. And then in the Siennas, just in different pants, you have Serendipity and Dynasty. It's not the whole palette. It's not. I did a review on like Profusion palettes and their collections a while ago, and I had I counted all the palettes, I counted all the shades, and I think it was like 100, let's say around 140 different eyeshadows, and it was around the 30 mark were shades that were in more than one palette. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what it is. But anyway, quality of Profusion palettes are just genuinely nice. They're not a Loreal soft and blendable, but they're definitely, you can get color without a base type of shades. They're a little bit on the drier side. Again, you have to not necessarily build them up, but they're not the smoothest in terms of blending. You gotta, yes. But anyway, for $10, you get, again, 21 shades. They follow that theme of warm. So the Confidence throws a little bit of olive in there for you. It throws a little bit of olive in there for you. Does not give you a black. This is the deepest shade in here. So you kind of have to, if you want a smoky warm, you might want to think about that. The same thing with the Siennas. Their deepest shade is this one. They're not the same shade in the two palettes, but I just think it's absolutely beautiful. One thing I do enjoy about these warm palettes is they do a good job of incorporating berry. Berry is definitely a warm shade. Some berries and some brick colors in both of these palettes. And they also incorporate yellow. So that's something that is a good thing. I don't know how to hold both of them. Is a good thing. So I really enjoy those. Yeah, like I said, I showed you both. You don't need both. They're similar. If you want some more olives, get the Confidence. But you can get them on their website. But like I said, in Walmart and Target, they're called different things. And one store has like the circle pins, one store has this. Very weird. It's very weird. Go to your Profusion. Profusion also has some smaller palettes for $5 that have like all mattes or all metallics or like brights and like different ones like that. So definitely check out Profusion. And Profusion, all of their palettes kind of have that, some sort of cohesive theme within them. So there you go. So yeah, that is my pick on my favorite warm palettes in my collection. And then also my recommendations out of all those, the top ones, yeah, I think you should check out. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about any of the products mentioned in this video, feel free to leave it down below. I love you all, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.